big story taking shape. Sony has announced on the agencies that they would not be going ahead with the merger, and they have terminated this particular merger contract. They have cited conditions which were not being able to be met for this merger to go ahead. My colleague Ankur, who's been tracking this story right from the early times, is joining us now for more details. Tell us, Ankur, what do you gather? Finally, the deal being terminated.
Yes, as we reported earlier on ET Now that Zee is not likely to get a go-ahead from Sony on the deal, and exactly what transpired, we had reported that in the last week, a meeting which was held by Sony, they had decided that they are not going ahead with the merger, and exactly the same Sony has now come out with a statement on agencies regarding the same, that they do not want to go ahead with this merger. In fact, a termination letter has been sent to Zee because the key conditions of the merger are not being met. Remember, last year on December 21, when 2 years of this merger were completed, there was an indication from both the parties that they may go ahead to talk about it. And a statement was released from both the sides that they are going to talk about extension of merger in good faith. Now, why it was done? It was done because the contract which was signed by both the parties as per merger completion agreement, which they call as MCA, there was a clause that if after 2 years the merger is not completed, both the parties can engage for extension of the merger. And now, Sony has clearly said that they do not want to extend the timeline of the merger. Forget about implementing it. They are saying that they do not want to extend the timeline, which itself means that they do not want to go ahead with the merger, and this merger has come to a dead end.
Ankur, can you talk to us a little more about what, to your mind, because you've been talking to sources on both the sides, would have gone into why this deal could not be reached? What kind of conditions were being asked from Zee's side, which Sony was not comfortable in fulfilling? What kind of negotiations actually happened, for this kind of stage to come to this end, that finally the deal is being terminated? Any idea?
Yes, definitely. See, when the deal was announced, one of the key conditions of the deal was that Puneet Goenka will be CEO of the merged entity. Now, after that, SEBI came out with an order alleging that there was involvement of Puneet Goenka as well as Subhash Chandra in manipulation of the shares. There was an interim report which was published by SEBI. Although SAT had given an order in favor of Puneet Goenka and Subhash Chandra, saying that even after that interim order, nobody can stop them from being CEO of the merged entity. However, if you look at Sony's side, they were continuously saying that if an order is pending against the key managing personnel, he or she should not be the head of that company, meaning that he should not be key managing personnel of the company, and therefore that was the bone of the contention between both the parties. While on one side, Puneet Goenka was saying that since the final order has not been passed, even SAT had given a clearance to him, then why he should not be CEO of the merged entity? However, on other side, Sony was pitching for its India CEO. They were pitching for NP Singh, who is head of Indian operations, as a CEO of the merged entity. But even in the last few days, when the talks transpired, we reported here at ET Now that on one occasion, even Puneet Goenka said that he has offered to resign conditionally. But Sony was not in favor of being in the helm of heading the operations other than NPC.
Right, Ankur, thanks very much for joining us for that. That's a big story. Remember, from the stock market angle, from 170 odd bucks, Zee stock has actually rallied to almost 270, 280 on hopes that deal will actually go through, and then fell back to 240. It will be interesting to see how the stock reacts in trade tomorrow morning when we open for trade. Thanks very much for watching this special breaking news, but we'll